Let's talk about something I think a lot of us know really well, but we almost never talk about it. It's that feeling, that deep instinct to just push everyone away and go completely silent when life gets to be too much. It's a really human thing to do, and we're about to dive into exactly why it happens. So, picture this. Your world feels like it's just crashing down around you. It's messy, it's heavy, and you're just trying to keep your head above water. And right then, your phone lights up. It's a text from someone who loves you, just asking, "Hey, are you okay?" And in that moment, instead of grabbing that lifeline, you just can't. You stare at the screen, hit the power button, and choose total silence. Sound familiar? If it does, you're definitely in the right place. So, what's going on here? Why do we do this? Well, society has a few labels for this kind of behavior, doesn't it? But honestly, they usually get it wrong. People might see it as you being distant or unfeeling. The truth, though, is so much deeper than that. This isn't about a lack of love. It's about biology. And this right here, this reframes everything. What the outside world might see as you being stubborn or cold or even heartless is actually a deep, primal survival mechanism kicking in. It is not, and I mean not, you rejecting someone's love. It's your entire system just trying to protect itself because it is completely, utterly overloaded. And this is probably the most important thing I want you to hear today. If you do this, you are not toxic. You are not a burden. Your reaction is completely understandable, and it's coming from a place of biological self-preservation. That's it. All right, so let's get into the science of this, because this isn't just a vague feeling. It's a very real physical thing happening inside your brain. Think of it like this. Your brain has a built-in emergency brake, and when the stress level gets dangerously high, it yanks that brake hard, whether you want it to or not. Okay, so there's an actual scientific name for this. It's called emotional flooding. And what's happening is your sympathetic nervous system, that's your body's alarm system, it gets so swamped with stress hormones like cortisol that it basically has to make a choice. And its choice is to shut down the logical, thinking, talking part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, all to save precious energy for pure survival. So it's like this chain reaction, right? First, you get hit with this wave of overwhelming stress. Then, all that cortisol flips a circuit breaker in your brain, and your logical thinking just goes offline. And the result? Any kind of action, especially something that involves talking to someone, it just feels completely and totally impossible. And that is why something as simple as answering a text can feel like climbing Mount Everest. Your system isn't seeing it as just a nice message from a friend. No, it's processing it as a huge energy drain that you absolutely cannot afford. It sees it as a threat to your critically, dangerously low battery. But where does this reflex even come from? Well, it didn't just appear out of thin air. For a lot of us, this whole emergency brake system, it was installed a long, long time ago. Its roots often go all the way back to our very first relationships. Psychologists have a term for this. They often trace this shutdown instinct back to something called an avoidant attachment style. And really, all that means is it's a kind of relationship blueprint that your brain created back in childhood, based on your earliest experiences of trying to get comfort. Think about it. If, as a little kid, your cries for help or comfort were regularly ignored or even dismissed, well, your brain learned a very powerful lesson. Reaching out to others doesn't work. It might even lead to disappointment. So your brain made a logical conclusion. Having needs makes me a burden. And so it taught you the only strategy that felt safe. Go it alone. Learn to soothe yourself in isolation. Okay, so we get the biology, we get the psychology, but what can we actually do about it in the moment? Well, the key isn't to try and force some deep conversation when you're flooded. Instead, it's about using a super simple, low-energy tool. Think of it as a reconnection protocol. And here's why this is so important. The real tragic irony of this self-protective shutdown is that it doesn't actually protect the people who love you. In fact, to them, your sudden silence can feel terrifying. It can feel like abandonment. It makes them feel like they're losing you, which is the last thing in the world you want. So here it is, the gentle, powerful solution. A pre-written micro-connection text. Something you can just copy and paste with almost zero energy. Something as simple as this. I'm overwhelmed, I'm going to be quiet, but I'm still here. It's incredibly powerful. And let's be super clear about this. The point of this text is not to start a conversation. It's the exact opposite. It's a signal, It's like a flare you shoot up into the sky to let your people know, hey, I'm okay, but I'm in power saver mode and I can't engage right now. It manages their anxiety and it protects your connection. And this just sums it all up perfectly, doesn't it? Silence without any context feels like abandonment to the person on the other end. But silence with context, well, that feels like a human nervous system doing its absolute best to survive. That one tiny signal changes everything. So I'll just leave you with this question to mull over. Whether it's for you or maybe for someone you love who does this, what could that low energy shutdown signal be? Because honestly, learning how to communicate our need for silence might just be one of the kindest things we can ever do for ourselves and for the people who are just waiting on the other side of that screen to help.